Hi, everybody. Welcome to the M&M podcast. I am your co-host, Madison, and with me I have Mark Nicholson. Mark, hello.
Hello.
How are we
Happy
doing today?
Halloween. I'm doing
Happy
well.
Halloween. Yep, today is the Saturday, October 30th, the eve of Halloween, and I'd like to send a quick shout out to our sponsor, Law Office of Mark Nicholson. He fights against the travesty of justice and will fight for you. I also want to thank the good people of Indiana for tuning in, and hopefully we can have this podcast up for you guys every Saturday by around noontime. So we'll be delivering some light news and some fun anecdotes for you to kick off your weekend.
Awesome. Now, it looks like you're wearing some kind of costume, or do you always look like that?
I do not always look like this. So yes, I am in costume today for the old Halloween. I am going to be today the worst pantomime. So I'm going to chat all day. But I'm rocking a pantomime look. I've got some restoration makeup on, a little bit of the white-faced lady, inspired by Lemony Snicket, the series of unfortunate events. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I am. Yes. Yeah.
I love that movie. Great symbolism in that movie. And I've also got a fun little Spock wig that I'm reworking today to fit the look. Giving a little bit of poor boy from England selling matchboxes back in the day, but it'll work. It's working for me.
Awesome. Now, I have on a Batman shirt, and on the back has a cape, because I believe that heroes should wear capes, and I'll probably end up wearing this for or some similar Batman attire for Halloween tomorrow.
Very fun. Are you doing something fun for Halloween tomorrow, or are we passing out candy? What's your schedule look like?
Depends on what my kids want to do. So there's two places that they want to go in regards to what they call those trunk or treat type things, where you go and then they have, like, cars, and you get stuff out of the trunk of the car. So I don't know which one we're going to go to. So I'm just gonna be along for the ride. Wherever they say go, that's where I'm going to go.
Oh, how cute. Awesome. Are we going to be a family of superheroes, or we've got their own it'll looks happening?
We went to the Spirit Halloween yesterday, Party City, trying to find these costumes, and it was like, desert. It was so empty. I remember pre-COVID, they would have the line of costumes and stuff like that. This year, it was, everybody's just like taking stuff, and my daughter wanted to be Wonder Woman. My son wanted like a Michael Myers mask, even though he never seen the movie Michael Myers, but they didn't have any of that. So there definitely won't be a family of superheroes this year.
Oh, okay. It looks like you're a fan of the comics back there. I see some action figures. What do we got back there?
Yeah, so there is Captain America. You also have Iron Man, Batman, Power Man, Luke Cage is back there. I do love comics, and so I do. I'm not really a collector of comics. I like reading them, so I'm more into the story than I am like, oh, this is a comic from 1952, and you can't open it and all that, and trying to keep it preserved. I'm all about the stories.
Oh, awesome. Do you have a favorite superhero in the franchises, the DC and the Marvel franchises?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Batman, but there are also other comics that I'm a big fan of as well, that people haven't really heard of. One called Icon and Rocket is one of my favorite comic books, and they just actually reissued that. It was under the Milestone comic brand under DC. There were a lot of African-American writers and artists that created this Milestone Comics, and that was like in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, and then they kind of went out of business or whatever, or DC swallowed them up, and just basically kill off all the titles. but now they've reissued some of the older ones, and then now they have a new series.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Keeping up with that. Yeah, I had never heard of that franchise before. Classic DC, big corpse taking up the little guys.
Yeah. I do have. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
So I do have a little bit of Indiana news since this is Circle City News, and one of them is the BMV branches that they've been closed. Some of them have been closed because of COVID and staffing shortages. Well, starting in November, all the BMV branches are going to be open in Indiana, and everybody loves the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. I'm sure I say that sarcastically, but yes, Bureau of Motor Vehicles will be open in November here in Indiana. So come awesome. Get your driver's license.
A great way to spend your afternoon at the DMV.
Yes. Oh, so you guys call it DMV in Florida, is it?
Yes. Okay. I didn't understand what you were saying at first when you said the BMV, and then you specified that it was the business of motor vehicles. But yeah, it's called the DMV. Oh, the Bureau
of Motor Vehicles. Get it right, Madison. Bureau of Motor Vehicles. And
the DMV is not too bad. Yeah. But
so another thing that Indiana has, I don't know if you guys have there in Florida, is we have the Circle City Ghostbusters. Yes. So if you have any ghosts, these individuals dress up in the authentic type of costumes of the movie Ghostbusters from like around 1984 and go around Halloween killing ghosts. You know, who you going to call? Circle City Ghostbusters. Yep, we have them.
Absolutely. For all your paranormal needs, go ahead and give them a call.
Right. Exactly. All your paranormal needs, call Circle City Ghostbusters to bust those ghosts.
Yes, absolutely. So a little bit about who we are and where we're from. We've tried this. This is now our third time for our first show. So the technical difficulties have been prevalent, but we're working through them. So hopefully iron out those kinks there. But my name is Madison. I'm from Southwest Florida. I'm a graduate of Florida State University. I graduated actually spring of COVID season. So that was just the most fun. No, it was a mess, but it was a good time. So I just want to shout out Plies County 239. Thank you, everybody and my family, for tuning in today. But the weather here has been real rainy, real swampy. How's fall looking like in Indiana?
Right now, it's kind of dreary, cloudy out, and a little chilly. But I think we've had pretty mild weather this year as far as the temperatures not being extremely hot and not extremely cold for the year. I think the weather experts will probably, say maybe it's one of the coldest, or excuse me, one of the warmest on record. That may be true. I don't know, but I just don't remember there being too many like really hot days like I've seen in the past. And, so I think we're going right along with the tradition of the seasons this year.
Okay, cool. Pardon my Florida public school education, but does it rain in Indiana every year? Like typically, do you guys expect rain or I'm
yes.
sorry, snow?
Yes.
Okay, so it snows there.
I can't believe you don't know it snows in Indiana. It's like, that's ridiculous. Yes.
Florida is its own country, I swear. We very rarely hear about things going on anywhere else unless we're like actively searching for it.
Well, you need to actively search about Indiana. It's a great place. We're called the Hoosiers.
Oh.
Yeah. So you get an education about Indiana.
Absolutely. Oh, that's too funny.
What do they call people in Florida? Floridians?
A mess.
No.
Yeah, Floridians, definitely.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
All right.
So Mark.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you have something lined up, and I was getting ready to interrupt. So go ahead.
Oh, no problem. I was just going to say what brought you to this podcast and what kind of brought you to the blog spot. I know you had a podcast back in the day. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about what originally made you want to start doing that, and then what made you want to reboot it now.
Yeah, so basically there was a website, it's still around, called Blog Talk Radio, and it allowed for people to basically create a radio station or a talk radio station, and they gave you a number, your own personal number. People would call that number while you're on the air over the internet, and you would just host it and have this conversation with whoever, kind of like we're doing now. I got busy with work and family, and I wasn't able to keep it up. And then my co-host at the time, Rita Gorski, she got busy with work and family, and were not able to keep it up. Now that my kids are a little bit older and technology has definitely improved with the videos and just the different ways to communicate with one another, I was like, hey, this may be an opportunity to go ahead and try my hand at doing another blog or another like radio podcast type thing. I always kept the Circle City News website up and active, not as active as it was in the very beginning. So there is still circlecitynews.org.org. That website's up. And also for my law firm, I started a newsletter called the Nicholson Nugget, which has information about the law and some personal interest type stories. So I started doing that shortly before the pandemic, but I just thought, hey, why not go ahead and add on to my plate by trying to do a podcast with some kind of light news. I know you talked about that, but maybe some heavy news too, depending on what's going on in the news. And we can get to that later, like Alec Baldwin. So anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you're a humanitarian at heart with your line of business. And it's interesting that you're getting involved back in the blogs and everything. I think that's going to be a good kind of perspective because you're in the trenches with your work, but you can kind of come here and be light, but also explanatory about things that are going on, serious matters even. So that's awesome. I'm glad that Indiana can have one of their own to kind of represent them as well. So it's going to be really exciting every week to kind of touch upon what we're doing and what you've been going through as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that, and I said it kind of lightly, but the issue of, I think Alec Baldwin and this unfortunate accident has, taken the media. I mean, there's other stories around, and I did talk a little bit about Indiana and what's going on there, and in Indianapolis, obviously there's a lot of issues going on there. But one on the national stage, I think Alec Baldwin, an unfortunate incident on the movie set of, I believe, Rust, is I guess, depending on what side of the fence you're on, you may think this is something that is tragic, or you may think this is something that is criminal and someone needs to, go to jail, be punished for it. So I don't know what side of the fence you're on that, but.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting. Alec Baldwin's definitely like a difficult character. First things that come to mind really off the top when you're thinking about him, what would be maybe 30 Rock, that he's sort of a hothead, that he's a father. He's been in the industry a very long time. He's very talented, but he's always kind of had that like edge about him where he's people are a little on the fence of if they like him or if they don't like him. So even though somebody like a Robert Downey Jr., who's really a big presence in a movie with a big personality and kind of a shtick, but people are also, they like Robert Downey Jr., I would say, on a personal front. People kind of have an attachment to him. I'm not really sure if people have an attachment to Alec Baldwin where they'll go out of their way and stick their necks out to protect or defend him. So I think this is a really interesting person for something like this to happen to. There's a couple things going on here. First, why was there guns on set? You don't need real guns to, make a fake movie, so I think that was something that definitely needs to be investigated. But he's kind of the person that I don't even know if he would be. I mean, a life has been lost. So that's the bottom line. but I'm not sure he is a very empathic person that I'm interested to see the narrative that he's going to spin out of this. Because I know him and his wife have been kind of shacked up in a ski, like a rich ski town. Paparazzi's been trying to follow them and everything, but it seems like they're mostly just trying to hide away until the dust settles a little bit. So I'm very interested to see how he's going to react to the situation, and also how the media and the people are going to react to him after the fact. Are we going to see Alec Baldwin again in movies or TV? I'm not too sure, honestly. I don't really know. I'm leaning towards probably not. I think this might be his last attempt at the industry, but we'll see.
I tend to disagree with you. I think that he will continue to, like, this movie. I'm not sure the fate of this movie, whether it end up getting produced or not. But I think he will continue to. I don't see him going into retirement. I haven't really read anything that makes me think this was an intentional act or like a setup. Obviously, I'm not there. I don't know enough about Hollywood other than there's a part of me that feels like the issue with having real guns on movie sets is something that is probably done all the time because they want to make it look as realistic as possible. So they have these real guns, and they're supposed to be like maybe like starter pistols or something where they don't have real bullets, but still these guns can still kill people if they're not handled correctly. I have read some articles about the director or the not the director, but the armor bearer or the person that was in charge of like weapons and stuff, maybe not being as qualified or not feeling comfortable, or there wasn't following certain protocols and things like that. So I don't know if she's a fall person or they're trying to use her as a scapegoat or what, but there has been some issues there have been some articles I've read dealing with, talking about that. I just think that at the end of the day, it does seem like it may have been an accident, an unfortunate one, and wasn't like anything that was intentional. Being a personal injury attorney, I do think that it opens the door up for a huge lawsuit against the producers and the companies and stuff like that were making this movie. I do think that is going to happen. Like you were talking about whether or not he would be in movies again. I think that there's going to be a lawsuit. It's probably going to be settled out of court, and it's going to be for probably multi-millions of dollars.
Wow, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, his PR guy is probably having a field day with this. He's probably freaking out about what they're gonna say after this. But yeah, it's a tragedy, definitely.
Yeah. Now, tomorrow is Halloween, and I know that you have some topics that you want to talk about in regards to Halloween.
Absolutely. So hedonism, sadism, succubus, masochism. Oh my. A mega question that surrounds Halloween is, why do we bear down for Halloween time? We have a personal interest to kind of dress a little risque and step into our sexy side on Halloween, and I kind of was just wondering why we do these things and kind of the culture around Halloween itself. So just kind of touching into the holiday here. You said you had some fun plans for yourself tomorrow with the kids and everything. But yeah.
One of the things that's interesting to me is, Halloween, Hallow Eve, which is Holy Eve, the night before, All Saints Day, which is November the 1st, right? And, a lot of people don't really celebrate that as like a holiday. Is that maybe, if you're Catholic, you might, but the, idea of kind of like celebrating, this kind of the dead on Halloween, and then, all the saints, on the next day, which is November 1st. I'm not sure how to answer those, the question of the particular costumes that people wear. I think that me being the type of person I am, being, totally about freedom and choice as much as possible, and you're not hurting anybody else. People can wear what they want to wear, and doesn't offend me for the most part, because you got people dressing up as like monsters and serial killers and stuff like that. So if someone wants to dress up as the naughty nurse or whatever, more power to them. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a celebration of the Samhain is like a witch holiday for the end of summer, the summer's end. So it's kind of a big tradition in the pagan holiday. I kind of had forgotten about the All Saints, which is shame on me. I was raised Catholic, so I definitely should be aware of that situation. But with the celebration of Halloween and everything. I think that October is kind of just like a very spiritual month within itself. I think we have close connection to spirit, and people get really involved, and I think it brings the community closer together. So I think that might have an effect on just like the bareness of people wanting to just go out there and be the rawest version of themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a lot of where that comes from. But yeah, definitely just be safe out there, everybody, and stay in your groups if you're going with your groups. Watch out for your friends, watch out for yourself, and just have a good time. So I think we'll
That's
be good
it.
there.
Yeah. Have a great time, everybody. Happy Halloween, happy Samhain, as you said. And we'll see you next week.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.